Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. It is actually Friday, March 14th, and you may or may not know what that means, but if we have a show on Friday, that means we got a big pay-per-view usually going down on Saturday, but I won't be here Saturday. It's time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, going to celebrate a good friend's nuptials. Jeremy Pierce, welcome one and all. You know you can check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations 52 on Instagram, and of course the 215 on Twitter. And today's show, ladies and gentlemen, AEW is bringing us Revolution, their first pay-per-view of the year. It's usually the first one, usually goes down in March. It always feels, we'll get into it a little bit later, but it's always going to be, almost always a great show for Revolution. And we're going to preview the show and make our predictions, but for now, you know what's next, so just go on and hit my music. All right, ladies and gentlemen, AEW is bringing us Revolution, their first pay-per-view of the year, and this will be the first one to air on my AEW and all the other platforms. This is the first pay-per-view of the year for AEW. They also, bring us other shows in between. The last pay-per-view is, I believe, usually World's End, and that's in December. So it feels sometimes weird going from December all the way up until March without a pay-per-view, and then they get the pay-per-views rolling. After Revolution, we have Double or Nothing. Then we have, I believe, All In after Double or Nothing, and we just keep it grooving. So this show, once it's going down in Los Angeles, but before we get into this year's show, we got to look at last year's show, which was a good show, but it was marred by the main event. So we go to the pre-show first, and we had 3 matches on the pre-show. Commander and Hologram defeated Lee Johnson and Blake Christian, the Swirl. Dan Garcia in the Undisputed Kingdom, he teamed up with Cole Roddy and Kyle O'Reilly to defeat Shane Taylor Promotions. Big Boom AJ in the Conglomeration, so it was a Big Boom teaming up with Orange Cassidy and Mark Briscoe. They defeated Johnny TV and the MXM Collection. Just a fun match. The pre-show was great. So we get to the main card. Hangman defeated MJF. They're facing each other 1 year later. That's a little crazy. Mercedes Moné defeated Momo Watanabe to retain the TBS Championship. It's a fantastic match. Swerve Strickland defeated Ricochet to become the number 1 contender for the AEW World Championship. Okada defeated Brody King to retain the Continental Championship. The Hurt Syndicate defeated the Outrunners to retain the Tag Team Championship. Toni Storm defeated Mariah May in the Hollywood ending. One of the best matches of the year, ladies and gentlemen. This was the Falls Count Anywhere match for the Women's World Championship. Toni Storm retained. Kenny Omega defeated defeated Takeshita to win the International Championship. Ospreay defeated Fletcher in the Steel Cage match, and Moxley defeated Copeland and Christian Cage. Defeated Copeland. Christian cashed in his Casino Gauntlet contract, became in a 3-way to retain the World Championship. So the main event is kind of what holds this card back from truly being great, because Ospreay Fletcher was amazing. Omega Takeshita was amazing. The true main event, ladies and gentlemen, the Hollywood ending, Mariah and Toni Storm, just 5 stars, 28 stars in the Tokyo Dome. Right, Okada Brody was pretty good. Swerve and Ricochet was really good. Mercedes and Momo Watanabe is probably the most underrated match on this card, but it was a really good show. I can't really say anything else about it. So we go into the 2026 shows going down at the Crypto.com arena. I believe they were in Crypto last year. Yeah, they're in Crypto last year. Where were they in 2024? That is a good question, dude. You just always go to LA. 2024, they were down. 2024 was Sting's last match. They were at the Greensboro Coliseum, the legendary arena. So we go into this year's show, and we have looks like 12 matches currently. So again, ladies and gentlemen, recording is on a Friday. Collision has yet to air. I'm assuming Tony Khan is going to add at least one more match to the pre-show to flesh it out. If he does, I will definitely give you a quick preview of that over on either Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. Just bear with me on that one. But we've got a really good card for Revolution, man. This thing looks just awesome. So let's dive into it. First, we got the pre-show. We got 2 matches on the pre-show. First things first, we got the 21-man Blackjack Battle Royal for the AEW National Championship. So Ricochet is in this match. He's the national champion. Ciampa is in the match. We found that out on Dynamite. And there will be 19 other competitors we do not know just yet, but you know, this is going to be a fun match. This is a good way to get everybody else on the card. Maybe like Private Party, Mark Briscoe, so on and so forth. So we'll see, but I am expecting Ricochet to come out the winner here and really get a few going after this. Then we have the love of my life, Willow Nightingale, putting the TBS championship on the line against Lena, Kross. And what I think we're doing here is we're going to go with the original plan was before it got hurt. So Willow and Lena are both doing double duty. So you know, after this match, we'll go right into their other match. So here's the thing. If Willow wins, then they're losing the tag team titles. If Willow loses, then they're retaining the tag team titles. So here's the thing. Lena Kross is new. She's solid. But I think it's time to move Willow into a dominant and prominent feud for the TBS championship, maybe against the heel Chris Dale. I don't know. But Willow's winning this match. Lena's going to look good because Willow really works great against women who can match her power for power. Go just watch her recent match with Persephone. Was really, really solid. So take Willow Nightingale to retain the TBS championship. Then we move to the main card, right? So, like I said, Willow and Lena Kross are both doing double duty, which means Willow, and Harley Cameron, the Babes of Wrath, will be putting the women's tag team titles on the line against Megan Bayne and Lena Kross. And like I said, since I think Willow is retaining the TBS championship, I think we're going to go ahead and switch the tag team titles to, for all intents and purposes, I'm going to call them Mega Bad, which would suck for Penelope Ford not to have this reign. Now, this is going to be a fun match. You know, the outliers are Harley and Lena, who are still, you know, growing up in the business, in the ring, and perfecting their craft. So Willow and Megan Bayne are going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for this match. It's not a knock on Harley, not a knock on Lena, but you know, you go where your bread is buttered. And here's the thing. Maybe there's the off chance that not only does Willow retain the TBS championship, but her and Harley retain the tag team titles, because we don't know the extent of Penelope's injury. Penelope could come back and we can go with the original plan of, you know, Megan and Penelope being tag team champions, or Penelope and Lena Kross being tag team champions, and we move to Megan Bayne versus Willow for the TBS title. We'll see. The women's division is definitely picking up. We got the Brawling Birds, we got the Inspiration, we've got a couple other teams floating around Ring of Honor. So even though I said Willow's retaining the TBS title, I'm gonna go out on a limb. This is my bias. This is my bias showing. I think I'm gonna go with the Babes of Wrath retaining the titles here. I'm gonna go with the Babes of Wrath retaining the women's tag team championship. This is the one I'm not super confident in, but something tells me that they're walking away as champions. Then we move into another tag team match. We have the Dogs, David Finlay, Clark Connors, and Gabe Kidd taking on Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong. So remember we were talking about this feud. I was like, well, there's got to be a third man with a Darby with OC, and it turns out it was Roderick Strong who made his return on this past Dynamite. We don't know yet if he's fully a part of the conglomeration. We don't know yet. And here's the thing. I have said this time and again about Darby Allin. He can't always win. Right. And I think you can get a lot of leverage out of this feud, especially if Darby and OC and Roderick lose. So, like, Roddy and Orange Cassidy are going to have issues because, remember, Roddy turned his back on OC. So, like, you got to tell the story with Roddy and OC. Does Roddy become a full-fledged member of the conglomeration, right? And you can't have the Dogs lose, right? Like, this is their debut pay-per-view match. This is like their really true official match. They had a trios match on Collision. They murdered that team. And you can spawn this off into just multiple variations of one-on-one matches and tag team matches. This feud could go at the very least to Allin. At the very least. But I'm going to take the Dogs to win this match. I just can't keep seeing Darby Allin win every single match. So, then we have Toni Storm versus Marina Shafir. And this match stems from essentially Blood and Guts, which was last year. And I love how AEW can seamlessly transition people into different feuds so effortlessly, right? Because if we go back to the trios match, how in the hell did Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin start teaming together to face the Dogs? Like, Orange Cassidy was literally just teaming with Toni Storm to go against Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta. And now here we are with Toni and Marina. So the crux of this match is everyone is banned from ringside because multiple times someone, usually from the Death Riders, has gone on to help Marina. And we don't get to see Marina Shafir have one-on-one matches often. And her and Toni will be something special. This is just a straight wrestling match. And I think you're going to see a lot from Marina in this match, right? Here's the thing. Someone's got to transition into kind of a different feud after this. Like, does Toni Storm go after the Women's Championship again? Does Marina Shafir end up going after the TBS title? Who knows? But this stems from, again, Marina just abusing Toni's tag team partner, Mina Shirakawa, right? And Mina's gotten involved. The Death Riders gotten involved. So now everybody's banned for ringside. Toni's fighting for our girl. Here's the thing. The Death Riders can lose matches because it only makes them stronger. So they can suffer losses. And Toni is also taking some losses. She's not afraid to lose. I like this match. This could be a sleeper match. It won't go long. I'm expecting maybe 10 minutes, if that. But I'm going to take Toni Storm to win this match and rid herself of Marina Shafir. Then we have the trios titles on the line. The Don Callis family new champions, Kazuchika Okada, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis, taking on Jet Speed and Mystico. This is the most random match on the entire card because I have no idea how Mystico got involved in this match. This is just a way to get Mystico on the card. And I'm all for it. The dude is on fire right now. But this is the most predictable match on the entire card. So yes, this match is very, very predictable. The Don Callis family are retaining this title. So it's going to be a fun match, especially after what we just got with Speedball and Fletcher. So what I think we're going to have here is we're going to split up into a Fletcher Speedball feud for the TNT title, and Okada and Kevin Knight for the Continental Championship. And this is going to play into Kevin Knight not being able to win the big one and not being a killer like Swerve wants him to be. So take the Don Callis family to retain the championships here. And speaking of Swerve, these next two matches come from essentially the mini tournament that AEW sneakily held to find a number one contender for the men's world championship. So Brody King and Swerve proclaims himself to be the most dangerous man in all of AEW. Well, Brody King has something to say about that. Now, they pretty much eliminated themselves from contention for the championship, right? And after Swerve, went to the bad side, taking out Kenny Omega, Brody King has something to say about that. And here we are. He called out Swerve. Swerve got the better of Brody King on one week, but this past week on Dynamite, Brody got the better of Swerve. So who really is the dangerous one? This is a match. If they wanted to, they could have added a stipulation, but I don't think you should have a street fight on the same show as a Texas Death Match, right? So Brody and Swerve are going to just beat the holy hell out of each other, and I think you're going to start seeing, the seeds more seeds being planted for the new embassy, because the embassy is coming, right? And I think you can get another match, maybe two more matches out of Swerve and Brody King. It's just a matter of how do you want it to end, because at some point both of these men got to transition back into the world title scene. So I am actually going to go with Brody King here. I know that's going against the rule of opposite momentum, but I think I'm going to take Brody to win here, and kind of like a shocking upset. Speaking of, this little mini tournament that they held, Andrade and Bandido are in Brody King. They're Bandido tag team partners. And Bandido also got eliminated from world title contention. Remember, Bandido and Brody King both lost to MJF as he was putting the title on the line. And then Andrade got knocked out because he lost to Hangman. So everybody's getting eliminated, but nobody's really falling down the card yet. So Bandido called out Andrade. Now, this is the match, ladies and gentlemen, that has the potential to steal the show. To many people last year, either Takeshita or Bandido were the wrestlers of the year. I am pretty sure I gave wrestler of the year to Bandido for the Cutters. And Andrade has kind of found a new lease on life since coming back to AEW. He's been on a roll. So now he and Bandido have the chance to just do something special here. I think they are going to steal the show. This is going to be a really, really good match. I don't think both Brody and Bandido are going to win their respective matches. It's going to be either or. And since I got Brody winning his match, I got to go with Andrade winning his match, just to move forward, kind of move things along, and maybe we could transition to, I'm perfectly fine with getting more matches out of Bandido and Andrade. I think that would be best for everybody, just to kind of hold water until we kind of figure out what to do next with them, but take Andrade to win here. Then we have, ladies and gentlemen, the AEW Women's World Championship on the line. Thekla, the champion, is putting the title on the line against Kris Statlander in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Now, it's 2 out of 3 falls because they both have a win over each other. Kris Statlander won the first match, retained the championship. Thekla won the second match, becoming the champion. So now here we are with the rubber match. Kris and Stat have kind of a really good energy and a good connection. And we're starting to see a more aggressive, more angry side of Stats, right? She is not happy about losing to Thekla. And Thekla is just a breath of fresh air when it comes to the women's division. She is such a charismatic individual. You can't help but watch. This is a simple 2 out of 3 falls match. There are no stipulations. This is not like 3 Stages of Hell. So Thekla's got to retain, right? She just won. And I think you can get more mileage not only out of her as champion, but I think a slow burn heel turn for Stat, just because I think we can go into the well of Willow and Stat some more, and we got to start finding more challenges for the TBS title. This is going to be a solid match. Won't be super spectacular, but it's going to grab your attention. Take Thekla to retain the championship here. Then we have Jon Moxley putting the Continental Championship on the line against Konosuke, Takeshita, and this time, ladies and gentlemen, there's no time limit. These two have fought to a draw, I believe, twice. Mox beat. I need to go back and look at the previous Continental Classic. So Takeshita beat Mox, and then they had a match recently and they fought to a draw, and Mox don't play that, right? Mox don't play that. He suggested no time limits. Now, I kind of don't like that stipulation. That defeats the purpose of the Continental Championship. What would be funny is if there's no time limits and then they win in under 20 minutes. That would be hilarious. But because there is no time limit, they're going to go over that time. This is going to be the longest match on the card, next to probably the Texas Death match and probably the tag team title match. We're getting the subplot of Takeshita wanting to do it alone. The thing that makes Jon Moxley so great is everything he did with the AEW World Championship, right? Hiding it away, building up, the championship being revealed, but also then him transitioning to the Continental Classic where everyone's banned from ringside. So now you have to do it by yourself, and that brought the fans back onto his side because he did it by himself and won the Continental Championship, which none of us had. Nobody had Moxley winning. So now here he is doing it by himself, and Takeshita saying that we know Takeshita at some point will be leaving the Don Callis family. It's not a matter of if, but when. I just don't think Takeshita's going to win here. I think you get more out of Takeshita losing and kind of bring a little dishonor and a stain to the name of the Don Callis family, where they start to get ready to push him out. This is going to be a really, really fantastic match. Jon Moxley's just amazing. Takeshi's just amazing. But take Moxley to win here. Then we have the AEW World Tag Team Championship and match number 4, 5, I don't know, I lost count. FTR are champions, and they're putting the titles on the line against, you guessed it, the Young Bucks. These two are forever rivals, and I love it. I hope that we can stop doing these two teams together for at least 2 years, keep them apart. But this match is going to be fantastic. This is going to be an amazing match. FTR and the Young Bucks just have an amazing, amazing chemistry with each other like no other. FTR kind of took this overboard when they attacked the Young Bucks family and their brother, their father, and the Bucks weren't having that. We just recently had, a trios match on Dynamite where they kind of got their hands on each other. But these two teams know each other well, and this is one of the times where you really don't know who's going to win the match, right? FTR got the belts recently, defeating Bandido. So they've had a couple defenses. Is it too soon to put the belts back on the Young Bucks? That's the good question. The Young Bucks have to get revenge on FTR. But there are a bunch of other teams that could challenge FTR. There's a lot. There's a lot. This is probably the hardest match to pick a winner, because it could go either way. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and take FTR to win here and retain because of Stokely. Stokely's going to find a way to get involved. And lastly, the main event, the Texas Deathmatch, last chance, MJF putting the world title on the line, the men's world championship on the line against Adam Hangman Page. And if Hangman loses, he cannot challenge for the AEW World Championship ever again. And this is a dumb stipulation because there's no way, no chance in hell we're going to not have Hangman challenge for the world title ever again. Hangman is winning this match. They're telling the story that Hangman can win it, he can't keep it, he gets it his own way. The thing that I love about the World Championship they've been doing recently, they've been doing this with both world titles, the men's and women's world titles respectively. They've been giving the champions shorter reigns, but also they've been having them put on multiple defenses before they lose the title. Like MJF defended against Bandido. I think he defended against Kevin Knight. That's 3 defenses he's had since becoming champion, and they were all great defenses. And now he's got Hangman. Stat defended against Toni, Thekla, and Mercedes Moné before finally losing it to Thekla. So it's 3 matches, 4th title defense. I'm sticking by that. Hangman's winning this match. Hangman's going to win this match. It's going to be Texas Death. Keep your eye out on the Don Callis family. I don't know what that was about on Dynamite, but Hangman's winning his belt. And maybe we transition to Hangman and Swerve. I don't know, but this is going to be a fun match. MJF knows how to bring it when it comes to these stipulations. He's not scared of this big fight feel. And Texas Deathmatch is essentially Hangman's match in AEW. So take Hangman Adam Page to become your new AEW Men's World Champion. So one more time, going over the card, we got the pre-show, the 21-man Blackjack Battle Royal for the National Championship. I got Ricochet keeping that. Willow Nightingale putting the TBS Championship on the line against Lena Kross. I got Willow retaining. Onto the main card, I have the Babes of Wrath retaining, surprisingly, the women's tag team titles. I've got the Dogs defeating Darby, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong. I have Toni Storm defeating Marina Shafir. I have the Don Callis family retaining the AEW Trios Championship. Thekla defeating Chris Statlander. Thekla defeating Chris Statlander to retain the Women's Championship in the 2 out of 3 falls match. I got Swerve defeating Brody King. I've got Andrade defeating Bandido. I've got Mox defeating Takeshita to retain the Continental Championship. I have FTR defeating the Young Bucks to retain the Tag Team Championship, and I have Hangman Adam Page defeating MJF to become your new AEW Men's World Champion. It's going to be a fun show. This card is going to blow WrestleMania out of the water. WrestleMania has a chance to be a really good card, but WrestleMania, you really can't compete with Revolution and then follow that with you know what I mean. So this looks like a great card. I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a long night. I wish this show was starting earlier in the day and not 8 o'clock Eastern time. Just started if it could just start at 7. If it could just start at 7, but the show's running until at least midnight, 12:30. But that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Look on the screen we got coming up. Rest of the month of March. Check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course at 215 on Twitter. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.